This video is brought to you by Tempo. Stick around to the end to learn more about the Tempo move. How's it hanging, my Peloton freaks, iFIT creeps, Tempo peeps, and all of the rest of you connected fitness geeks? I am your host, Colin Jenkins. Welcome back to the Weekly Watt, where we cover the week's top connected fitness news stories and updates. And there are a ton of big updates to cover this week. Peloton has a new One Peloton Club, where they will be allowing you to now rent their bikes. They also came out with a new update allowing Apple Watches to be used for all of their equipment, as well as Peloton is now countersuing iFIT, all of the while their stock has dropped to a new all-time record low. Strava has released a new update for 3D maps and point of interest, and has also ended service in Russia and Belarus, and so much more. So sit back, relax, clip on in, tap that like button if you haven't done so already, and let's get the show started. Peloton has officially announced their new test pricing program called One Peloton Club. With this new program, Peloton will be testing combining the cost of the bike with their monthly subscription fee. Now, these plans are set to cost between $60 and $100 per month, and they've started their rollout to Peloton showrooms in Texas, Florida, Minnesota, and Colorado on March 11th. The goal, according to the new CEO, Barry McCarthy, is to test for a price point that brings in new customers by dramatically decreasing the costly upfront purchase of a Peloton bike. This is very similar to what Whoop did a few years ago when they stopped selling their smart armbands for around $500 and instead gave them away with a higher subscription fee, allowing them to fuel their rapid growth. This method can definitely be more profitable for companies long term because you end up paying more for the product over time than you would have had you paid it all up front. And it is more attractive to many new customers as well because of the smaller initial cost. So it makes sense that Peloton wants to test this out as a possible solution, especially since if this does happen, it will essentially eliminate the second-hand market of used Peloton bikes, as it would end up costing more for someone to buy a used bike versus getting a new one from Peloton. So just a heads up for anybody who is no longer using their Peloton, you may only have a short time left before you'll still be able to resell it. Peloton also had another big announcement this week. Much to the delight of Apple Watch owners, Peloton has now enabled you to connect to their bike, Bike Plus, and Tread via a workaround on the app. This is something that we have seen from numerous other connected fitness products over the past year, so it is great to see that Peloton has finally enabled this and more easily allowed Apple Watch owners to connect. Peloton has also started selling Peloton branded Apple Watch bands, so they are definitely leaning in and embracing this update, possibly looking to try and establish a better relationship with Apple. Peloton is also now beta testing a new feature on their iOS app, which allows users to view their quote body activity and a class breakdown for the time spent between cardio and strength for bootcamp classes. Evidently, the body activity section has a visual representation of the muscle groups that will be worked in each class. The primary muscles being targeted are highlighted in dark blue, with secondary muscle focuses shown in light blue, as well as a list of each of their corresponding percentages of the time spent in the class on those areas. Then with the new bootcamp breakdown in the beta, it shows the amount of time spent in the cardio portion versus the floor portion, as well as a complete breakdown of the cardio portion of the class in more detail than we've ever seen it before, indicating how much time is spent on a flat road, or with intervals, or on the tread for walking, jogging, sprinting, and recovering. No word yet on when these updates will become available for all users, but these updates are likely in preparation of the upcoming release of the Peloton Guide, which is set to come out this April. And believe it or not, there's actually even more Peloton news to cover this week, which we'll get into in a moment, but we're going to cover some more big updates on some other connected fitness programs first, because Peloton isn't the only company who announced this week that they'll be improving their ability to integrate with Apple. Meta, formerly Facebook, this week announced that their fitness data from Meta Quest will soon be able to sync with your iPhone and Apple Health. This is great news for VR users who are working up a sweat in apps like Supernatural and Les Mills to finally be able to track their workouts outside of the limited Meta Move app. Now, the workout tracking app Strava has a big update this week as well, which takes Strava's recently announced point of interest feature, which helps identify the most popular spots and locations, is now visible on all map layers, including the new 3D terrain style. These two recent updates are now being brought together to improve routing and on-trail experiences for athletes. Additionally, Strava has announced on Friday that they will be ending services in Russia and Belarus, joining numerous other businesses and organizations condemning Russia's terrible war that they have brought upon Ukraine. Michael Horvath, co-founder and CEO of Strava, put out a news release stating that Strava, quote, has always been a platform that brings athletes together through the power of community. That very community is being rocked by a tragic and senseless war, and it's important that we show our support and stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Horvath also said, in addition to cutting services in Russia and Belarus, that they will be providing humanitarian aid for more than 2.5 million refugees who have fled Ukraine, as well as others affected by the war. Now, you may remember that about a month ago, I covered the story about how iFIT was suing Peloton over patented features like auto adjust being used on the Peloton Bike Plus, and they requested that the International Trade Commission block Peloton bikes from being imported into the United States. Well, after winning a patent trial for their leaderboard feature, Peloton is throwing a big fuck you to that, and they're now counter-suing iFIT for their leaderboard and requesting a cease and desist that would prevent iFIT from being able to sell and advertise infringing products. We'll have to keep our eye on all this to see what, if anything, comes out of all of these seemingly never-ending lawsuits between these two companies. Finally, Peloton strength coach Chase Tucker has announced that he will be leaving Peloton. Peloton so far has seen very little turnover of their coaches, and while not a household name, Chase is the most popular coach to leave Peloton in several years. This announcement from Chase comes as Peloton stock has seen a new all-time record low this week, reaching close to $20, a little over a year after reaching its all-time high of over $160. Barry McCarthy continues to claim that Peloton is not looking to sell, but when stock numbers drop that low and that rapidly, sometimes a business has so few options that unless there is a quick turnaround, there may not be any other choice. I think we'll learn a lot about Peloton's future as we see how well their new pricing structure that they are testing works out, and how well some of the new products end up selling that they release later this year. And now a big thank you to Tempo, who has helped make the Weekly Want possible by sponsoring this episode. In a connected fitness landscape that is changing so rapidly, and with the fairly high price it can take to build out your own connected fitness home gym, it's nice to know which products are future-proof and which may become obsolete in just a few years. And that's why I love the Tempo Move. One, because currently at $100 off and a price of $395 is one of the best value options available, but also because it uses high quality dumbbells and Olympic style plates, as well as since it utilizes the tech powered by your iPhone, it is built to last long into the future. And that's important because nobody wants to invest money into something that may not last or be made obsolete within just a matter of years. Make sure to check out the Tempo Move with the link below if you haven't done so already. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Weekly Want News Update. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our next episodes, which we make each and every week. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it as always, and I'll see you next time.